Planning a wedding can be a mental challenge. Don't let all of the to-dos push you over the edge. Everything you need is just a mouse click away at Utah's brideaccess.com. Groom not included. Welcome to today's podcast show. I'm Robin Seville with brideaccess.com. I am always excited to sit down with wedding businesses and learn about their specialty. But more than that, the reason why I get really excited is because at brideaccess.com, we want to do everything we can to help you make your wedding unique and special to you. Today, I'm sitting here with Sam Abu-Jabara. Sam, tell me a little bit about your business.
Well, the business name is Something Vintage, Something Blue, and we do chauffeured vintage and classic wedding cars, and also for all occasions as well. Well, first, I want to thank you for discovering the company and helping us do some of the marketing. We specialize in vintage and classic cars. We do believe that, our cars could totally transform the wedding experience for the bride, from waking up in the morning, going to the hairdresser, staying with them all day, throughout, the process of the day, all the way to the exit transportation and dropping them off at the airport or the hotel or whatever they're going. We love the business. We love being part of the wedding business in Utah. And we're looking forward to expand as we go forward and add more cars for people to love.
Well, when we first saw your cars, before we got to know you guys, we thought that is something that's definitely unique and different and really quite elegant for a bride. And you guys have several different options. And one of the things I love is it's not just a stretch limousine that shows up.
Absolutely.
You have several options, but tell us a little bit about when you say something vintage, what does that mean?
Well, for us, we went off of the common saying that people have been saying for years, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. So since we're dealing with vintage cars, and our first car was a 1937 Buick Special Series 40, and it's in blue, so we decided to go with the name Something Vintage and Something Blue in one shot with that name. So this car is unique in many ways because of the fact that it's made by Buick, which is one of the first companies that manufactured cars in the United States. Also has suicide doors, a unique look to it, and just showing up in such an eye-catching automobile and driving around the city, on your wedding day, is just absolutely fantastic. I mean, truckers are honking their horns, people are waving, thumbs up, and it's very exciting for me. And sometimes I'm driving and I, forget myself, as part of
that's some of your best advertising right there, is just driving up and down the freeways.
Absolutely,
but you have options for the brides and grooms. Tell me about some of the cars that you have.
We also have added a 1972 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow, which is a very unique car. It was made, only in a few-year production period, and it just sits nice. It's beautiful, all leather, handmade, and it's a different element for different kinds of brides that don't want to necessarily go into something that's very vintage looking, but they want that class looking with an older car. Mm-hmm. So that 72 Rolls-Royce is quite popular, and a lot of the brides love it out there. And we've done quite a bit of groom transportation, to their own weddings just with that Rolls-Royce by itself.
It really, you said at the beginning, it really helps set the stage and set the tone for the bride. You mentioned that it could be from the moment she gets up that morning of her wedding to go get her hair done, whatever she's planning, or as simple as just picking them up to take them to the wedding and reception, or after the reception to take them to the place that they'll be staying that night. You can be there from whatever the couple wants.
Absolutely. We're extremely flexible, and since we work with only small section of the population that wants to have vintage weddings, we are able to accommodate any budget. We're able to accommodate all kinds of transportation needs, whether it's going to include parents or bridesmaids or the entire wedding party. Also, we've been asked to add limousines for additional services, and we also have good relationships with a couple of good companies that allow us to use their limousines and get our clients good rates on them as well.
Yeah, so really you're fitting whatever the need is, whatever
Absolutely.
The request is.
Like a chameleon. We'll do whatever the bride wants us to do.
Since we're just doing audio here and we're talking about these different cars, we're not seeing them. The bride's not seeing them as we're talking about it, but they can go to your website.
Correct.
Or they can also find you at brideaccess.com. They can see pictures of every car that you're talking about, get all the information they need. And I know, because we've helped you work with the videos, there's even video about your cars.
Absolutely. There's several videos, and they range in length anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes and a half that are also posted on our website on Bride Access. We would love for the public to see them. And you can catch probably a lot of our cars on the road, most likely on the weekends. That's when we're the busiest.
Yeah.
And if you're out there, look for a vintage car with a bride in it and give us a wave. We would love to say hi to you.
Tell me, before we wrap up this segment, what are some of the comments you get from the bride and groom after you've helped them, you've brought them to the wedding, you've brought them to the hotel that night? I imagine you get a lot of compliments and a lot of gratitude from the couples saying, thank you so much for helping us make our wedding so special.
Yeah, absolutely. We do, and quite a bit. I was actually surprised to the emotional connection that my brides and their families have had with these cars, especially the ones that have taken the car all day and let it sit in front of the wedding venue.
They don't want to give it back, do they?
No, all of their guests loved the cars as they were entering the wedding and watching them exit with those cars. I've received comments from anywhere like the wedding could not have been like it would have been without those cars. One of my brides called it an essential extra. Many of them tell me that they feel like a princess, and really the cars have totally made them. I have couples that have come to get married in Utah from out of state, and they have looked us up on the internet, and when they meet us and they see the cars, and they're actually very excited to see something like that happening in Utah. And one of the comments was like the best spot of the wedding was driving up Little Cottonwood Canyon after the wedding, listening to classical music, going slowly in Vintage Daisy, as they got dropped off of the snowboard for their honeymoon.
I'm envisioning that. What a great scene.
It is. It is quite fabulous, really. And I love everything that has to do with the business.
And I just want to echo something you just said, quoting one of the brides you worked with, is it was an essential element of the wedding.
Exactly,
and pretty affordable too. And like you said, you can fit into almost any budget. But this day is such a big day for the couple. And your cars, and I've seen, I think probably all the ones that you have, those cars are beautiful, but they do set a wonderful tone and a wonderful feeling. They're very romantic. They're very classic. And when I see those, it just to me shouts wedding. Beautiful wedding, unique wedding, special day.
Yep, there's nice cars all over, but when the bride shows up in one of our cars, there's no mistake about it that the bride has arrived.
The bride has arrived. Well, Sam, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
And I want to say they can find you at your website, which is
somethingvintagesomethingblue.com.
Or they can also find you through brideaccess.com.
Absolutely.
Both those places, there's pictures, there's video, all the information and contact information.
Absolutely.
to contact you. Sam, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.